Battlefield 2042 has been out for a couple months at this point, and so far it's been a pretty underwhelming experience for me personally and the community at large. So in this video, I just want to go over some of the issues that I have with the game and just some of the design choices that EA and DICE decided to move forward with that I think really compromise the acceptance of Battlefield 2042. I think the main issue that most people are taking with this game at this point in time were the choices from EA and DICE to remove the traditional class system. What they've done is replace the traditional class system with your generic hero shooters, and it just kind of breaks the immersion and it doesn't feel like Battlefield. So let me kind of explain a little bit. In prior games, you had your traditional class system, which allowed you to pick what role you wanted to specialize in. Those roles were limited to certain weapons and gadgets within the game, meaning if you wanted to get good with a certain weapon or gadget, you had to run that class and master it. Once you were good to go with that, if you decided, hey, you know, I've kind of fulfilled everything I wanted to do with a medic class, let's go try to, you know, be an engineer or support, and, you know, try to run an LMG or, you know, just any other weapon that wasn't available in the medic class, you had to go learn that class. Now, with Battlefield 2042, you can choose any generic hero you want to play with and run any weapon or gadget in the game that's available. So it's kind of destroyed team play as far as I'm concerned in the game, because now no one has to rely on a certain role. Everyone can do their own thing, and it's not Battlefield at all, in my opinion, and it's just becoming very frustrating, especially, you know, being a person enjoys mastering all the different classes and all the little nuances and, you know, just everything about running the different traditional class system. It's also more grounded and based in reality than what we have now. You know, Sundance in her wingsuit, you know, it's just, she can fly wherever you want. That's Apex Legends shit, you know, that's not Battlefield 2042. It's not Battlefield, period. So it just really baffles me how EA and DICE thought that, hey, let's scrap a huge just portion of our game that the community has been growing accustomed to over the years throughout our previous catalog of games, and let's just throw them a generic hero shooter and see what happens. Like, they would have had to have known before they made this decision. People were going to be pissed. This was not going to be a well-received change to the series, especially, you know, by the OG hardcore fan base, the guys that have been here since Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Vietnam, you know, like, it just blows my mind, and I don't know what they were thinking. The next big issue that most people are going to take with this game are the lack of the simplest features that any game could honestly incorporate, in my opinion, which would be VoIP and an in-game scoreboard. Now, yes, there's essentially an in-game scoreboard for you personally and I guess your squad overall, but they have removed the traditional scoreboard that any first-person shooter has, which would show every player in the lobby. Now, again, I don't know what DICE was thinking by removing such simple features that is, by now, in today's gaming world, just industry standard for most multiplayer games on the market when it comes to first-person shooters. I mean, I can't think of one first-person shooter that I've played within the past 10 years that doesn't have a scoreboard at minimum. But, you know, also the ability to communicate with your teammates and strategize and just really be able to come together and get work done in the game, it has to be there. Now, they recently posted, I think yesterday, or it may have even been today, that they are planning on upgrading, you know, the scoreboard and changing it, and it's going to come mid to late February. So that's potentially going to be 3 months before we get VoIP and a scoreboard in the game. I don't know what DICE is doing. I don't know why it's taking them so long to implement such simple features, but this has to change. The game is bleeding its player base daily. At the time I recorded this, I think the peak was right at like 6,500 players. And that is honestly pathetic for a Battlefield game 2 months into launch, or any game, period. Like, it's just, I don't understand any of the design choices that EA and DICE have made for this game. There's also just a clear lack of communication with the community overall. No one has come forward and issued a statement apologizing for the state that this game was released in and is still currently in. The least I feel they could do is issue some sort of statement apologizing and giving us some sort of detailed plan as to what steps they're going to take to really change the game into what the majority of the player base is wanting out of a Battlefield experience. Then comes the performance issues with the game. The game runs terrible. It's horribly optimized. There are people out there on extremely high-end hardware, 3090s, 3080s, that are struggling to get 100 FPS with this game, which is just totally unacceptable for any AAA game on the market. The game shouldn't have been delayed another year, in my opinion. It's just not acceptable to be released and still currently be in the state that it's in. Map design and lack of maps is also another huge issue with the game. There's just not enough. Like, I understand that you guys insanely increase the player count and, hey, bigger maps, all this stuff, but there's just not enough to keep everyone interested. I know I've already grown bored of it. And we have to wait until March to get one new map. That's all you're going to release, is just one new map. I don't know, man. Like, I think DICE is really going to have to do quite a lot to regain faith with the community at this point, because they're losing their player base incredibly fast, and a lot of people are starting to just turn off to the Battlefield series. And I really hate to see that, because I've been playing the Battlefield franchise for a long time. I love Battlefield. I want to love Battlefield 2042, but that's just impossible for me in the current state that the game was released in and still is in currently. So I think that they're really going to need to step things up and do a better job communicating and let the community know what their steps are to improve. But guys, that's about it for today. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions as far as what you've played of Battlefield 2042. So go ahead and leave those down in the comment section below, and have a good one.